Good evening, folks. This evening's bonus one is discussion E. We're discussing hospice use after ICU admission increased across the U.S. from 2011 to 2023, grounded directly in the content of the article you're viewing. What the context means, what the text means in context of the article. The article reports on a national study of more than 10 million Medicare beneficiaries over age 65 who were admitted to an ICU between 2011 and 2023. The researchers found a steady measurable rise in the number of older adults discharged to hospice after an ICU stay. Even though short-term mortality in the hospital and within 30 days did not change during that period. In other words, people weren't dying more often. They were choosing hospice more often after surviving the ICU. This shift, why this shift is happening, according to the page. The surrounding content highlights several drivers behind this trend. Number one, hospitals have expanded palliative care. National guidelines and policies have pushed hospitals to integrate palliative care earlier for seriously ill patients. This has made it more common for ICU teams to involve palliative specialists who help families understand prognosis and options. 2, more patients and families are choosing comfort-focused care. ICU treatments, once intensive and often misaligned with what people want near the end of life. The article quotes Dr. Annika Law, who notes that this rise in hospice use suggests hospitals are doing more to help high-risk patients choose care that reflects their values. 3, end-of-life decision-making is changing nationwide. The study is the first to quantify hospice transitions after ICU stays on a national scale. The increase from 5.6% to 6.8% of ICU patients, 388 to 572 per 1,000 beneficiaries, signals a broader cultural and clinical shift in how end-of-life care is delivered. Four, other indicators of comfort-oriented care also rose. The same period saw increases in do not resuscitate DNR orders and palliative care consultations, reinforcing the trend toward more intentional values aligned with aligned care planning. What the headline is really pointing to, the text is summarizing a key finding. Across the U.S., more older adults are transitioning from the ICU to hospice than they were a decade ago, reflecting a nationwide shift toward comfort-focused care at the end of life. The article frames this as an important development for families, clinicians, and policymakers who are trying to ensure that care near the end of life aligns with patient needs and values. Okay, guys, now remember I said I do shows. I'm trying to do shows with two looks at the same information. So here's the second half of tonight's bonus show. Okay, what the text means in context. The phrase hospice and end of life care in the US. Here's the stats plus the facts, guys. I've got that for you also. Okay, hospice and end of life care in the US, statistics and facts, is the title. A comprehensive statistical overview of how hospice care is used, funded, and delivered, and experienced across the United States. The surrounding page provides a data-rich snapshot of the entire hospice landscape, who uses hospice, who provides it, how long people stay, how much Medicare spends, and what older adults think and worry about as they approach the end of life. The page essentially a national dashboard of hospice trends. What the page emphasizes: number one, hospice is growing fast. Medicare spending on hospice reached $25.8 billion in 2023 and is projected to more than double by 2033. This reflects both rising enrollments and longer lengths of stay. Two, more Americans are dying in hospice. In 2023, 52% of Medicare decedents were enrolled in hospice at the time of death, meaning hospice is now the most common setting for end-of-life care. The number of hospice providers has surged. There were 5,899 Medicare certified hospice providers in 2022, with a large share being for profit agencies. This growth is part opportunity, part concern, as it has also raised questions about fraud and oversight. Who uses hospice is changing. The page breaks down hospice use by age, gender, race, and ethnicity. Age highest among adults 65 or 85 plus. Gender 55.7% female. Race and ethnicity notably lower among Hispanic beneficiaries. Primary diagnosis: cancer, dementia, heart disease, etc. 5. How long people stay in hospice varies widely. This page includes data on average and median length of stay. Distribution of very short stays, e.g. 7 days or less. Distribution of very long stays, e.g. 180 days. These patterns matter because extremely short stays often mean people are referred too late to benefits. Six, most hospice care happens at home. Routine home care is dominant. Level of service reflecting the preference of most patients to remain in familiar surroundings. 7, caregivers generally rate hospice highly across multiple measures. 95% of caregivers say they would recommend the hospice their loved one used. 8, Americans' attitude toward dying are shifting. The page includes survey data showing Many older adults are comfortable talking about death. Their biggest fear is being a burden. Most want patients, families, not doctors, to make end of life decisions. Many have not yet had conversations with clinicians about their wishes. What the title is signaling. The title is telling you that this page is a statistical overview of the entire U.S. hospice system, including how many people use hospice, how hospice is funded, where care happens, who provides it, how caregivers rate it, what Americans think about dying, how end of life preferences are changing. It's not a narrative article. It's a data hub designed to give a full quantitative picture of hospice and end of life care in the United States. Okay, guys, so that is it for tonight. I will be on tomorrow for shows. Until then, Gator Wellness, take care, folks.